जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Avhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, Chapter 9, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Text number 2. Rupam yadetadavabodharasodayena Shashvan nivrittatamasa sadanugrahaya Ado gruhitamavatar shataika bijam Yannabhipadma bhavadadahamarasam Rupam yadetada avabodha rasodayena Shashvan nivritta tamasa sadanugrahaya Ado gruhitam avatara shataika bijam Yannabhipadma bhavanadahamarasam Rupam yadetadavabodha rasodayena Shashvan nivritta tamasa sadanugrahaya Ado gruhitam avatara shataika bijam यन्नाभिपद्मभवनात् अहमाविरासम् Please repeat. Rupam yade podharase udayena Grihitam avatar shate kabijam Yannabhipadma bhavanadahamavirasam Rupam yadeta vabodharasodayena Shashvan nivritta manasa sadanugrahaya Adovhitam avatar shatai kabijam Yannabhipadma bhavanadavirasam Rupam yadeta vabodha rasodayena Shashvan nivritta manasa sadanugrahaya Ado gruhitam avatar shatai kabijam Jannabhipadma bhavanadahamavirasam Ado gruhitam avatar shatai kabijam Jannabhipadma bhavanadahamavirasam Mataji Rupam yadeda vabodha rasodayena Ado gruhitam avatar shatai kabijam nugrahaya Ado bibhritam avatar shatai kabijam Padma bhavana rasam rupam form yad which etad that avabodha rasa of your internal potency udayena with the manifestation shashwat forever nivritta freed from tamasaha material contamination sat anugrahaya for the sake of the devotees Adav original in the creative energy of matter Grihita accepted avatar of incarnations Shateka Bijam the root cause of hundreds Yad that which Nabhi Padma the navel lotus flower Bhavanad from the home Aham myself Avirasam generated. The translation and purport by Abhay Charnarvind Bhaktivedanta Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: the form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of internal potency. This incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel home. Purport: the three deities Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwar, Shiva, the executive heads of the three modes of material nature, passion, goodness and ignorance, are all generated from Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who is described herein by Brahma. From the Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, many Vishnu incarnations expand at different ages in the duration of the cosmic manifestation. They are expanded only for the transcendental happiness of the pure devotees. The incarnations of Vishnu who appear at different ages and times are never to be compared to the conditioned souls. The Vishnu Tattvas are not to be compared to deities like Brahma and Shiva, nor are they on the same level. Anyone who compares them is called a Pashandi or infidel. Tamasa mentioned herein is the material nature, and the spiritual nature has a completely separate existence from Tamaha. Therefore, spiritual nature is called Avabodharas or Avarodharas. Avarodha means that which completely nullifies. In the transcendence, there is no chance of material contact by any means. Brahma is the first living being, and therefore he mentions his birth from the lotus flower generated from the abdomen of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Om Adhyanathimirantasya Dhyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. रूपम यदेत दवबोध रसोदयेन शश्वन निवृत्त मनसा सदनुग्रहाय आदौ गृहीतमवतार शतैक बीजम यन्नाभिपद्म भवनाद अहमाविरासम. The form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of internal potency. This incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel home. So seeking blessings from all the Vaishnavas, our Savas Prabhu, and all the senior disciples of Prabhupada and everybody else. Thinking about this verse, it looks like this is the fruit of performance of austerities, because Lord Brahma, when he came out of the navel of Lord Vishnu, Srila Prabhupada describes that he was in complete darkness and he was in shock because he did not know who he is, he did not know what this creation is all about, and he had no idea. He was in ignorance. Srila Prabhupada says the two great deities of the material creation, this is Lord Brahma and Mother Durga. They are such powerful deities, but still they are in ignorance of the spiritual subject matter. But what we can learn from them is how they tackle the situation and how they come out victorious. As we know, Parvati or Mother Durga, she always sitting next to her husband Lord Shiva, and she is inquiring about the spiritual subject matters. She is constantly asking different questions and Lord Shiva is answering them. And Srila Prabhupada describes here, in the case of Lord Brahma, he is the first created living being. He is the leader of entire material world. You can say material creation in one sense. From him comes everything. He is the secondary creator, such a big position. But he is very confused, perplexed, and he has no idea how to take the situation. Srila Prabhupada also describes that Brahma, he has 4 heads. His one head is like a supercomputer that we cannot even imagine what kind of, the capacity, what kind of processor that he has, chip in his brain. He's so extremely intelligent. Srila Prabhupada says his entire body is made up of intelligence. And our body is made up of ignorance. Our body is made up of material elements. Such a difference we can see, and still Lord Brahma is very confused. And he tries to speculate as well in the beginning. He tries to think that, okay, what could be the real goal of life? What could be my position? What should be the next step to be taken? So he already speculated so much with his 4 supercomputer heads. He already tried, so much of speculation. So Srila Prabhupada says that we don't have to speculate anymore. Because even such great personality like Lord Brahma, he ultimately had to surrender to his own, the person, the Lord in his heart. And Prabhupada describes how he heard the word tapa in the beginning. And he heard from the flute. So it was Krishna's mercy that Krishna was guiding this Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, after hearing this tapa, he immediately sat down for meditation. He started performing austerities. So, such a great person as Lord Brahma, he also has to go through austerities and sadhana, the process for spiritual realization. It is not served to him on a plate, on a silver platter, like we say. So that's why Srila Prabhupada says what we learn from Lord Brahma is how one should be persistent in performing the austerity. And when Lord Brahma went through severe austerities and meditation for several years, hundreds of years, he's gone through that. And then the fruit of that austerity is what we are listening in Srimad Bhagavatam, this second text, that he is actually seeing the Lord. He's seeing Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Srila Prabhupada describes further in Srimad Bhagavatam, I think 15th chapter, he says that Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the personality which nobody in the entire material creation can see. He's unmanifest to everyone. Nobody has access to him. Nobody has ever seen him. Nobody has the audience, but only Lord Brahma saw here. This is the importance of this text. He saw the unmanifest Lord that is unmanifest to every other living being. So Lord Brahma, when he heard the word of Supreme Personality of Godhead, he takes that instruction very seriously. That instruction was given that who you are, what is your position, and what is the next task to be performed. Srila Prabhupada mentions that what we should learn from the first spiritual master in the material world, Lord Brahma, and he is the Acharya for our Sampradaya. We come from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So what we learn from Brahma is that he took that instruction to his heart. The word of the spiritual master is more important than his so-called physical form. So Srila Prabhupada says that the Vani, the word of the spiritual master, should be stored in the heart and it should be constantly meditated upon. And that's what Lord Brahma has done. Like Bible also says that in the beginning there was word of God. The word is God. That's what they say. That word itself is God. This is how much we have to give the importance to the words of the spiritual master. One time Srila Prabhupada was, after the class, he was sitting in a relaxed mood, and there were some disciples sitting at his feet. And one disciple was constantly staring at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. And he jokingly said, Srila Prabhupada, I want to sit at your lotus feet forever, for the rest of the eternity. Srila Prabhupada said, that is not possible because I am constantly traveling. So Srila Prabhupada was implying that the process of devotional service is not only to physically sit at the lotus feet of the spiritual master, but to serve that lotus feet in such a way that the spiritual master will be completely pleased and satisfied. So Srila Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavatam 298, he mentions that just like Lord Brahma also humbly submits to a spiritual master, one must surrender unto the current link of the chain of disciplic succession. So here Srila Prabhupada is implying that one cannot take Diksha from the spiritual master who has already gone back home, back to Godhead. So the current link of the chain of disciplic succession. Srila Prabhupada implies and emphasizes in that purport very beautifully. So when we serve the lotus feet of the spiritual master, through him, through the disciplic succession, that service is transferred above to in the succession, it ultimately reaches to the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's why Srila Prabhupada says that the service goes up and then the mercy comes down. So the process of service is ascending process, and the mercy comes in the descending fashion. So here, Lord Brahma, in the purport, further Srila Prabhupada mentions how this entire material creation is tamasaha. Tamasaha basically means the darkness. Just like Prahlad Maharaj also calls this material world as a gruha andhakupa, meaning that this entire material creation is like a deep, dark well. There is no, like such a dark place, there is no light. And still some foolish living entities are trying to enjoy in this deep dark well. But Krishna has mercifully sent some ropes for taking out the conditioned souls. And those ropes imply the different sampradayas. The Brahma sampradaya is there, the Shri sampradaya is there, Kumar sampradaya is there, Rudra sampradaya. So these are the ropes that have been sent to us mercifully by Krishna. But some foolish living entities are still trying to enjoy the so-called happiness in the material world. So this must be avoided. Srila Prabhupada says that this avarodha or avabodha rasa that is existent in the spiritual world. The spiritual world, the rasa is pure, meaning there is only happiness. In the material world, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, he describes that it is Lada Tappa Mishra. The happiness that comes is mixed. For example, right now we're going through the phase of fall. So we see that in the morning it's very cold, and we come with like hoodies, and we come like completely covered. And then in the afternoon it's so hot, and we're so hot now. Then we take it off, and the evening again it's very cold. So it's like the weather is playing with us. One may think that okay, it is very hot in the afternoon, and go on a bicycle ride on a mountain top, wearing some t-shirt, and then while coming down he's literally shaking. He can't even make it to home. So this is called the material world is very confusing. It is mixed happiness and distress. Just like on one side your tooth is in so much pain, at the same time you are being served nice gulab jamuns. So on one side there is a tooth pain, so much pain on one side, but at the same time you are trying to enjoy from the other side. You are trying to eat the rasagullas, gulab jamun from the other side. So it's a mixed happiness and distress. Very smart. Is the next speaker. So one more example is while eating, like someone makes a nice sweet rice like a kheer, but someone adds a lot of mud. So you're eating the kheer, you're eating the sweet rice, you're feeling that taste, the sweetness, it's coming. At the same time, there is that, crunchy or disgusting flavor. Your teeth are being hurt because of the little tiny little rocks and specks. So that's the rasa of the material world. One more example is given by Jiva Goswami. He says that in a cold winter, if someone puts a nice blanket on you, you're shaking in the cold winter, and someone puts a nice blanket on you, you feel so nice that, oh, so nice. But the same person takes a stick and starts beating you, because now you don't know who that is, so you're under the blanket, so he kicks it. So that's how the material energy works. First, it's avaranatmika shakti. That means the illusory potency. The external energy, Maya, she gives you comfort in the form of avaranatmika shakti. And once you feel comfortable, then she kicks you. It's prakshepatmika shakti. Then she gives you spanks with a stick. So that's the whole idea of this different, how the rasa is different. But in the spiritual world, Srila Prabhupada describes how this avabodha ras or avarodha ras, this rasa is pure. There is no adulteration of any material anxiety in the spiritual world, in the spiritual rasa. There is only pure unalloyed, transcendental happiness in the spiritual world, in the service of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada says that on the earthly platform, we are all, very much confined by so many rules and regulations, and we have to follow certain direction. When someone is uplifted from that platform, one becomes on the godly, demigodly platform. So the demigods in the heavenly planets, they have more freedom, and they can do much more stuff, but they're still not completely free. When someone still transcends upwards in the mode of goodness, one can go to even the planet of Brahma. And in the planet of Brahma, it's called Brahma Bhuta platform, whereas there is no Shochati, no Kangshati, there is no happiness or distress, there is no material happiness or distress, there is Brahmananda. There is a very eternal, like constant happiness, but it's a constant happiness, like a straight line graph. You are very happily situated. But Srila Prabhupada says that's not the final destination. Srila Prabhupada says when someone meets Krishna face to face in the spiritual world, that happiness is like a spike. It's not just like a straight line graph. That in Brahma's planet, even if you get rasagulla, you get gulab jamun, you are just like, okay, thank you. If you get something bad, you're still like happily situated. But in the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha planet, especially in the Goloka world, the happiness is much, much multifold. It's much, much more. It's like an exponential. Do you know exponential graph? But how? It is unimaginably, to even inconceivable to describe what kind of happiness it is. It's like a straight line upwards. It's like a straight line upwards. That means that graph is, you cannot calculate the extent of happiness. So Srila Prabhupada describes, that's why it is called our bodha or our rodha. That's the meaning, that's like the purport of that rasa. And in the material world, the thing is, the difference between the spiritual and the material rasas is when the spiritual rasa is mixed with envy for Krishna, then that becomes material rasa. As Jiva Goswami Pad in Bhagavad Sandarbha, he describes very nicely how in the material world everything is born of envy for Krishna. When there is envy for Krishna, then the living entity is transferred to the material world. And in the material world, all the actions and all the different varieties of things a person does, they're ultimately mixed with envy. So envy is the root cause from which everything is expanded. For example, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada and matsar. These things, until mada, everything is born from envy. Envy is the root cause. From envy is born the material desire, kama, material kama is born. From envy and material kama, the krodha is born, the anger. And so forth. From the material envy and kama and krodha, greed is born. So like that, it is a succession. So envy for Krishna is the cause of all the problems in the material world. So there is one Bodha Katha. It's like an allegorical story which describes the ghastly nature of envy, how bad the envy can be. So there were two beggars. They were very envious of each other. They had such a competition. I mean, hardly they would get like $10 a day by begging. It's not that they're working. They're sitting, across each other on the same street, and they have such an envy. What is his day's collection? Oh, he got 11 and I got only $10. Okay, that means tomorrow I have to do better. This guy, he gets to my nerves. I want to defeat him. There's such a competition and so much of envy. Even though they are beggars, they have nothing. They have literally no house. They're homeless. They have nobody that loves them, or like there is nothing that they are so much concerned about. They have no possessions, but still there was such a competition, so much envy. Somehow, they came in contact with a devotee of Krishna. And the devotee preached them that if you praise God and if you perform austerities and if you please God, God can give you anything. So they were like, anything? You mean like, can I ask for $100? And this devotee, he said, $100, this is nothing. You can ask millions. God can give you anything you want. So the first beggar, he thought that, okay, I will perform austerities to the extent and that I can defeat this guy now. Because every time he makes more collection than me by begging. So I'm going to perform austerities. So the second beggar also heard that if we please God, we can get whatever we want. God gives benedictions. So the second beggar also thought, I will start my austerities, but I will please God first. So there was competition. Who wakes up first? Who is going to do more austerities? So they were performing demonic type style of austerities. I won't go into so much details, but they were doing so many type of austerities just to please God. And when God will be there, I will ask him something that will make this guy so much jealous of me. So there was so much envy between both of them. Finally, the day came that God appeared. And the God said, okay, I'm pleased with both of you. Tell me, what do you want? So the first beggar, he said, he took God to the side. He said, just come little on the side. How about you ask that guy first what he wants, and then you come to me? Because what if I ask even the wealth of the world, he will ask +1. He will ask more than me. And still, even after getting everything, I will be dissatisfied. So this is the nature of envy. This is the rasa of the material world, which is born of envy, ultimately, which makes you dissatisfied no matter what. Even you become the king of the world, and there is one story that the king of the world got envious of a cobbler because the cobbler had a more beautiful wife. So what's the use of being such a great personality if you're carrying the dirt of envy within your heart? So this first beggar took God to the side and said, you ask him first, because whatever he asks, I want more than that. So the God said that, what is your desire? Just tell me what benediction you want. I don't have all day for all this nonsense. So he says, this is my desire. This is my benediction that I want from you. Whatever this guy asks, I want double of this. I want double. Everything. Whatever he asks, I want double. So God says, Tathastu. And then he's like, okay, I'm done with you. So God goes to the second beggar. The second beggar says, first you tell me what this guy asked. First tell me what he asked. Then God is like, oh my God, this is too much. Okay, this guy asked that whatever you will ask, he wants double. So the first beggar, he started thinking so much. He started, after contemplating for such a long time, and God is waiting. Finally, he comes to the conclusion and he says, my dear God, I know what I want. The God comes. Now this is allegorical story. He says, you blow away my one eye. You chop off my one ear. You cut off my one hand. And you chop away my one leg. And he said, the God is like, what are you even talking about? I thought you're supposed to be, like you are supposed to be decent. You're dealing to God. But why are you asking such a ghastly benediction? Then he says, because whatever I will get, this guy will get double. That's all I want. That's all I care. I don't care about you, I don't care about all the wealth of this world, I don't want a beautiful woman, I don't want anything. All I want is to get this guy. This is the ghastly nature of envy. It comes in one of the Upanishads. It's one allegorical story that comes that describes what kind of envy is, what kind of vice it is that it can make a person such a degraded person. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says in the spiritual world there is no envy for each other. In the spiritual world, all rasas are born out of Krishna Prem. That means all the rasas are born for love for Krishna. Meaning that there is kama, but the kama is not to satisfy me. The lust, so-called lust, is to satisfy Krishna. If there is anger, which, the month of Kartik, the month of Damodar, we see Mother Yashoda got very angry at Krishna. And Krishna is apparently crying. And he is begging Mother Yashoda that, oh, please forgive me. But this rasa is so beautiful that it is only to please Krishna, that Krishna wants to be treated like that. Krishna wants to glorify Mother Yashoda in such a way. And that's why this anger that is coming from Mother Yashoda is also born out of Krishna Prem, the love for Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada describes that love for Krishna is the basis of all the rasas in the spiritual world. Be it Dasya ras, Sakhya ras, Madhurya ras, all Vatsalya ras, all rasas are born from that. So here, coming back to the verse, we see that Lord Brahma, he received the full-fledged darshan of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada describes in second canto, 9th chapter, that this is the fruit of the devotional service. You get more service. It's not that Lord Brahma said, now I'm going to retire. Now I have received your face-to-face audience with you. Now give me one corner and let me relax. No. Actually, Srila Prabhupada describes that there are 4 things that was the reciprocation that Lord Brahma received from Krishna. The 4 reciprocations that Lord Brahma received were that he received a vision of the spiritual world. Lord Brahma saw the spiritual world. He saw the vision and he saw the spiritual world. Krishna showed that spiritual vision to Lord Brahma so that he doesn't become lethargic. He understands that the goal is not to be and remain Brahma. The goal is to go back home, back to Godhead. That was the reason that Lord Brahma was shown the vision of the spiritual world. And then we see that when Lord Brahma saw Lord Vishnu, they actually shook their hands with both the hands. So Srila Prabhupada said that was the first handshake in the entire creation, that Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu shook their hands. Then Lord Vishnu offered benediction. That's the third thing. That's the third reciprocation Lord Brahma received. The benediction. But Lord Brahma was confused what to ask. But then he asked, give me the mercy in the form of your guidance. That I need the guidance in the future, that you are giving me such a difficult job of secondary creation. Let me not be lethargic. Let me not be proud. Keep me humble. And please give me the guidance. So that's the third, the benediction. And the fourth, the last one is that the fruit of service is more service. The fourth one he asked is that give me more service. Never ever let me away from your lotus feet. That's the fourth benediction. So it's all coming in the future. And we'll see how Lord Brahma, the first created being, he is the spiritual master of the whole world. We can learn so much from him under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand. Anybody has any question? We can stop. Actually, we're running late. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
From? Are these just folk stories? Where are you getting all this from? Because
which one is this?
Like the one you said about these beggars. Where is this? Where is this been quoted from?
This is allegorical story. Anyways, it doesn't matter. When you say allegorical, means it's just like just to make some point. It's like allegorical. Allegorical basically itself means like a, just to teach some point. You tell it's a fiction story. Anyway, doesn't matter.